welcome to Session 5 of X and Novo. We find ourselves back in the Sumeragi Kai compound, Nagoya Castle, in Japan. Asmi and Silas, you awaken in your chambers to the warm glow of sunlight streaming through the windows of your Yakuza bunk room. It takes you a moment to remember where you are. Underground, the light you see must be artificial, stabbing at your eyelids through wooden slats in the rear of the room. You wonder briefly if a bullet would disable them. Silas's long, augmented legs extend past the bottom of his mattress and onto the stone flooring. His limbs would surely ache if there was any tissue left inside them. As it is, the pounding comes from between his temples. Last evening's excesses combine with a relative lack of sleep to produce the mother of all hangovers. Welcome to Japan, indeed. You are each awake now, but maneuvering out of bed proves difficult with the mattress built so close to the floor. The figure of Winston Triad slides into your vision, the soft glow of a virtual monitor hovering in front of his head as illegible text scrolls rapidly past the screen. Its glow is not reflected on his face nor around the room, so you can only guess as to what he is reading. It appears he decided to stay awake during the night. Reyna-Brainerd, the man you rescued from Cambodia, lies slumped over a flexible keyboard, his hair disheveled as he snores loudly. It seems he made it back safely during the night. The augmented doctor and Sasori are absent, and you can only guess as to where they might be. A Yakuza street soldier peers curiously into the room before continuing on down the narrow hallway. Your infolink informs you that it is close to noon, local time, and the rest of the day belongs to you.
Oh, Asmi rolls out of bed. And he is going to stumble around and find gratuitous amounts of water.
A small basin is next to you in the bathroom where traditional clothing and robes and towels can be found. A nice place for a morning shower, public though it is.
Sounds like a great idea.
You hop into the shower and are surprised when warm water touches your face. There doesn't seem to be any sort of thermal adjustment, but steam begins to rise and you are starting to feel refreshed. Silas, you hear the sound of groaning as Asmi rolls into the public shower. You slowly bring yourself to your feet with the hydraulic hiss in your augments, bringing you up slowly. You feel dizzy and light to your head.
Fuck. Note to self, less drinking with Yakuza in future. He puts his one hand out, leaning on like a wooden column, trying to give his legs a chance, using the augments basically to some stuff falling over.
You notice Winston Triad in the corner of the room. His attention seems fixed on his computer monitor.
Walks over, leans a little forward to try and see what's on the screen.
The screen shifts with your vision as you try to move. It's a virtual monitor tied to his info-link. Thus, monitor is basically a courtesy to let you know that he's browsing, but you're unable to see what he's reading.
So. In that case, he'll stretch a bit, then sit down and use his own info-link to start basically viewing the news.
Oh, sorry, I didn't notice you there.
It's alright. Just seeing what's on the news.
Nothing of interest. I checked a little while ago. Then again, well, you never know. It is the area that we're in, things change rather quickly.
The morning's reports on your info-link are fairly uneventful. The Japanese economy continues to slump as its demographics drag the country ever slower towards the precipice. Tourism still remains high, however, and the Japanese government is doing everything it can to advertise in the papers to get more and more tourists to come over from overseas. This has been good news for the Yakuza at the very least, as more members turn to the criminal underworld for jobs.
Yeah,
Winston, you have a message in your inbox from Rithasek, so it appears that the first one of the emails he has managed to decrypt.
No, send it on over.
Alright, give me a moment here. I will change my overlay. It's BR.
The man behind the curtain.
Let's
Oh,
see.
yeah,
I'm not
there's
liking how it
something
framed
great
that
and
one, so I'm going to
powerful
try that
BR.
screen sharing trick. There we go. Are you guys able to read that okay?
Yep.
Yep.
Oh, okay. From Julong.
Summarize for me later.
The subject reads, Emergency, Mayday, Mayday.
Ooh, hang on. Becca's in a moment.
Sweet. The message reads in the subject line, Emergency, Mayday, Mayday. The first, it's a reply to a previous message from one Vibol Sok at a village called Sifat. You recognize the suffix as a Cambodian email address. It says, to anyone who reads this, this is Shifat village port. We are under attack. Unknown number of assailants on shore, casualties reported, requesting. And then after that, the message is corrupt. What's interesting is the response message from one Julong Sao at a Hengsha address in China. He replies, you had better hope they finish the job. This address is not secure. Switch SATCOM to channel address 18437. Given your location, it's never too late to put faith in Buddha, whoever the fuck you sea rats pray to.
Lovely chap, evidently.
Any, well, I'll send a message over to any chance of being able to restore that corrupted data, or is that a little bit too far gone?
You're speaking to Rithasek, I assume?
Mm-hmm.
Rithasek sort of groans in his sleep as you shake him and he tries to wake up groggily. And
I'll
stares.
leave him alone. If he's down and out, I can work on it myself.
Sure. He slumps back over the keyboard in a drunken stupor.
Well, I can do a cross-check for that address and see if I can track down any imprinted history attached to it. And I might as well put something down as well to see if it's possible to sort out that corrupted data. Sometimes you can things have to be corrupted pretty bad for it to be completely unretrievable.
Sure. So let's do this as two different roles. You can give me your computer use role for the to try and recover the corrupted data further.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, you can perform an investigation, and I'll give you a bonus on that roll of +2 to try and trace down the email address.
Okay, so shall we put the first one down to computer operation, or potentially not really programming? Operation.
That'd
Okay. I'll be kicking off my single-minded bit on this one, because I can focus on this to the extent of excluding everything else.
be. Go for it.
9, I rolled a 12, which is a success by a margin of 7.
Okay. With your focus, you're able to determine that decrypting or decorrupting these messages is going to be almost impossible by hand. You need, as Rithasek mentioned, some sort of neural net that can perform pattern analysis, and you have to presume that he's got access to one, from what you've managed to uncover so far. The corruption is one thing, but you're guessing that it results from a missing packets in the footer of the email, and if they're not there, that would make recovering them basically impossible.
Also,
You're
just
not sure at
worth
this point.
Yeah, it was worth having a look to see on the specifics. There are lots of different types of corruption.
Yeah.
Sorry,
your
I do
insight-
apologize. She'll be here in a moment. I'm back.
Wonderful. Your insight allows you to determine that it's amazing that the progress has been made this far and this quickly. You guys basically put in a hard stick, copied as much data as you can, and then ripped it out while it's in progress. But because the messaging is sort of compartmentalized, pieces of it are recoverable while other pieces of it are not. But you're pretty sure you know how to proceed.
No, actually, well, just something for me to program up later. I've now seen the actual format of how things are counterpart. I might be able to program make a specialist program for reconfigurating the individual packets so they all fit in roughly the right areas, and then trying to do a view on them.
Yeah, did you want to get started on that now?
Well, let me just have a brief look at that investigation bit, because I can have that doing a web trawl while I get back. Basically, do a web trawl on the history of that email address. And while that web trawl's going on, I can do some programming on the side, because, well, multitasking.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. So...
Okay, well, Anfisa, Asmi, and Silas, you notice that Justin is beginning to continue his investigation after he finishes reading to you the contents of the email. Do any of you have skills in investigation, online or otherwise?
Does because the email contains a academic address and a name to it. Do any of those come up as anything from a Chinese underworld, any sort of contact or that I could roll on?
This being an electronic investigation, I would relegate it strictly to computer-based skills or general investigation. You can use Streetwise to make sense, perhaps, of the information that comes back.
Yep. I was just wondering if I would recognize any of the names as any sort of contact or players in something.
Do you have, for example, the soldier skill or any knowledge of geography or military?
Not currently.
Okay.
Heck, it does.
As a thing, I could try writing a virus to basically send, because we have the address of the person who sent the message. So
he knows it's an unsecure address. It's a nice idea, though.
No, what I mean is send the message to Julong and see if somewhere on his system there is a copy of the original message.
I think Julong might be dead.
His system might not be.
Good point.
I never did that. BR, where am I?
You are in the bath right now with your physician friend.
He may wash my back.
Your conversation with him concluded, Sasori. You receive an incoming message on your info link from Daisuke, your second in command.
Mm-hmm. Is he actually calling me, or is it just a message?
He's calling you.
I will accept the call without any video link, obviously, because I'm in the bath. For reasons.
Greetings, Sasori-sama. I trust you slept well.
Hi, Daisuke-san, and you also, I hope.
Indeed. I am calling to inform you that there is a man who wishes to speak with you from one of the other Yakuza clans. He will be coming by the facility later in the evening.
Indeed. Who is this individual?
He is one of the underbosses of the most major of the Sakura syndicates. I believe that this concerns the attack recently.
Excellent. Well, let me know when he is. Let me know when he is due to. Let me know when he is due to arrive, and we shall make his stay comfortable.
Hi, he says respectfully as he glances at the corner of his vision. It appears that the rest of your guests are now awake.
Good.
Shall I tell them to wait in the meeting room?
Yes, see to it that they are provided with food and libations. I can only assume that they are somewhat worse the wear this morning. They are not used to our hospitality, he says with a smirk.
Indeed. Hi, sir, he says as his image fades out from the corner of your vision. Now let's see, Rebecca, are you with us?
Yes, I am with.
Hey, good to see you. You arise from slumber in the underground barracks where you can see the figures of Asmi, Winston, and Silas gathered together in the corner. They're poring over what appears to be a virtual message screen. Having avoided yesterday's frivolities, you find yourself waking fresh and in good form.
Asmi stands up. I got nothing on this.
Oh, why don't... You've got access to this lot's frame over there, that big computer, why don't you do a little check and see if any of these names crop up on just their general context list?
Alright, I'll patch that in through my info link and start browsing then.
Alright, give me a investigation roll, if you would, please.
Alright, it's gonna be pretty much naked, so... One sec while I look up the defaults for investigate. I think I'm a little low.
I might have to chip in with, no, you press Control C, then Control F.
Off the top of my head, if you don't want to waste time looking it up, you can just roll it
it's not enough. Yep, it's
Okay.
like I start to figure out and I start to read. I just don't get anything.
Yeah, a cursory search of your contact list doesn't reveal much, unfortunately. There's certainly not anybody that you know, and without searching the broader interlink, you can't really tell who they might be or where they might be from.
That bit was a long shot anyway.
Silas, what would you like to do?
As I said, I'm going to try the essentially a tracer virus to see if there's... Because we can't really recover anything at this end, but we might be able to recover the original message on the system of whoever the hell sent the reply.
Well, like I said, I like your idea. Why don't you help out with? I got a web troll program running. I've got got a couple of things running. Why don't you take over my web troll program and check if we're getting some results and see if you can efficient that up while I finish programming my little specialist bit over here.
All right then.
Okay, roll me computer operation, and while you're doing that, Silas, Rebecca, is there anything you would like to do to join in on the investigation?
I have absolutely no skill or forte in this, so no, I'm not going to get in their way.
You do have
soldier
soldier, because Bertrand asked about it, yeah.
Well, soldier's it. That's all I have. But I didn't even think that was relevant.
Well,
here.
the idea is we might pick up some names and relations that you might be able to know about, because while we can
I see
potentially grab
girls,
information,
that's about it, unless I know these people by their email.
well, that or potentially reputation.
Might as well roll soldier and see, you know.
Okay.
Yeah, do it.
What do I need to roll? Sorry.
3d6.
Roll your soldier skill, yeah, 3d6.
By the way, I got a 13, which is bang on the number of my skill.
Okay.
So I think I succeeded.
And
There's
she
enough of-
succeeds as well. Sorry.
What? Oh. What is your soldier skill, anyway?
Just-
Probably
Shit,
like a 12.
I just bought it. Shit.
Well, we'll assume
Well,
it's like a 12 for now.
It's
Yeah,
a 13, because I have a copy of her sheet.
Yes, sorry, I've got a lot of characters to keep track of.
Yeah, me too. Tell me about it. Thanks, Evan. Coming in there with the save. So that's a margin of success of 6. So you're and Fisa, you're able to glean 2 key pieces of information. The first is easy and obvious in the from line where it says hengsha.laacademy.cn. You are familiar with one of the most major, in fact, probably the most successful of the major PMCs in the world is called La Academy, and despite appearances, it is not, in fact, a French military proviso. It began in Australia. It was once known as Bell Tower Associates, but after getting involved in some pretty nasty business overseas, they were forced to change their name. They have probably their most major inroads in the Chinese mainland, and the line is somewhat blurred between private security, police, and military in China. So it's very difficult to know whether this person is a member of the defense ministry, the police, or is just, you know, a PMC member living in China.
Right.
With your margin of success, the last piece of information you're able to glean is the SATCOM channel address. This is a frequency that is typically used for PMC signal routing, and it's state-of-the-art. Not only is a record not left behind of any communications that might follow this, but to actually decrypt it would take a supercomputer days, and that's if you captured the signal.
Huh.
Yeah, I was assuming that we wouldn't be able to. We wouldn't be able to trace that one.
Turning over to Silas now, your search reveals a couple of pieces of information. You're not quite able to tell. There's enough of the header information in the email address left behind that you're able to trace something about the location of the to and from geographical locations. With a little bit of research, you might be able to find the Hengsha address, though that's going to require another roll on your part and some time. But the Sifat address appears to be very close to where you guys were in Cambodia. It's basically just, it's an unsecured location in the middle of the swamp.
Right. Makes a copy.
.kh is the Cambodian suffix, and Sifat is the name of a nearby fishing village close to one of the rivers. It could have possibly been the one that you took in from the ocean. You don't recognize the name Vibol Sok, but a brief cross-reference will tell you that actually both the names, Julong Sao and Vibol Sok, are both very common names. Sok is a particularly common Cambodian suffix.
I'm willing to almost guarantee that they're just fake names.
Yeah.
Either way, good work.
He'll look at Justin. What's your character's name again?
I've got a few.
All
Most
right.
people call me Triad.
Triad. Right. Yeah. He'll look at Triad and say, "How good are you at writing tracer programs?"
Pretty damn good.
Because,
Well, currently I'm modifying an equivalent to a defragment program to seeing how these messages have broken once we actually stole them and seeing what the type of damage do. I'm currently putting together something a little bit more suited to putting them back together now that we can see how they're structured.
could you create a program that essentially searches, well, searches the information network basically to see if there's any connections linked into the area of Cambodia?
It's programs like that are pretty much bread and butter for our type of work.
Yeah.
I've probably got a couple preloaded on one of my small computers over there if you wanted to grab it.
Rightio. Gets up, walks over, picks up, brings back.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure BR. You know I have like 7 computers. I'm pretty sure some of them have some. 9 computers.
8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Yeah, 9 computers at the moment. I'm pretty sure some of them will have some of the basics on there for general bread and butter searching.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You can do pattern recognition. You even have access to a couple of neural nets. They're shared amongst the collective, but you can access them. Then that's the nice thing about your setup.
Yeah, I won't tell them about the neural net, but yeah, I've got a program on there that might be pretty much what you're asking for.
Rightio. He'll.
Let me just get this unlocked for you and password it, and then fingerprint it, and all the basic security bits.
Yeah.
Okay, I got it decrypted now, so make sure to re-encrypt and disconnect once you're done with it.
Rightio.
So, Justin, are you attempting to do pattern recognition with the email?
Pretty much with how you've got your emails structured. We should be able to do basically modify a defragment program to be able to work with this type of structure and essentially look through our just mass data, find things that are similar and start basically blocking them together.
Okay. You're going to have to add a few subroutines to the software that you've got because obviously you can't trawl the entire internet for pattern matching.
Well, I'm doing it's because we already have a chunk of stolen data to work with as a base. I can have use that, troll that with my program to test and see if we can put things together. Because it should be able to take some of the random, packets of information and just work with a little bit of restructuring. Once I know
Yeah,
that
there's
that's
basically
working,
two ways of doing it. You can divide it into chunks using a neural net and then basically just search on modern search engine for it, like Blue Book and the like. Or you can attempt to program something that would be a little bit more intelligent and have some discrepancy in terms of where it would look.
I like intelligent.
Right. So that's going to require a computer programming roll from you.
12, I succeed by a factor of 7.
Okay, your fingers fly over the keyboard. Actually, I should say Winston Truliad's fingers fly over the interactive light-based keyboard as symbols start appearing on the screen. It's not long before he finishes a batch routine that runs on his home network. You discover a few things from running this. The CFON address doesn't appear to be attached to much at anything. With your expertise, you're able to determine that it's more than likely an ad hoc network, the kind that's set up on a point-to-point basis in distant locations and in the field. The Hengsha address, because you used an intelligent network, you're able to sort of nibble around the edges, since trying to look up information on Le Academy in China would almost instantly flag your account. You're able to avoid that, however, and you get some of the considerable public information on La Academy's offices in mainland Hengsha, specifically on the lower level. You can tell that this roughly which office building, and it is an office building that the message was coming from.
Perfect. Can I, well, that gives me something to work with. I can potentially narrow that down as well.
Potentially, but very difficult to do without proceeding carefully with a few hacking rolls. You'd basically have to hack their servers.
Oh, hell yes.
Alright. So, the way to proceed with this is, first of all, you need a secure site to hack out from. You have about 20,000 of those sort of in your back pocket and a giant list of computers that you've compromised over the years. Going through them, however, is incredibly slow.
Well, I'm going to do a mixture of things. Well, first of all, it's a little bit slow, but I've got something to work with. I have a base of information. I'll see if I can also contact one of my guys and like tell him a little bit of what I'm up to. It's like, right, I don't know if you're free, but if you could give me a helping hand with this, I essentially need someone to run a little bit of cover for me. So I'm going to be going in a nice little bit of sharp surgical, but I need you to pretty much make sure they don't catch me. So if you handle that, and I'll forward a little bit of cash down to you to kind of cover you with for your time. This should be pretty much a quick in and out operation. And I'm going to be borrowing a little bit of the neural net for the sheer kind of adaptability of what I'm after.
Okay. This would be an influence roll on your part. If you don't have any particular skills in that, you can just roll a basic social roll. That'll be your intelligence -3 plus however many points you've spent. You're emailing the Juggernaut Collective, I assume?
Yeah.
Yeah. So however much influence you purchase with them, you can add as a bonus to that roll.
I rolled a 10, so I'm good.
Alright.
And I have influence on top of that, so even with the negatives, I would have succeeded.
No response thus far, but in your experience, it tends to take the collective a long time to respond to these kinds of missives.
Well, yeah, they'll pass it around. They'll be able to find the right type of guy, and it'll give me time to prepare my little attempt and get things adjusted up for personal security here.
The wooden doors at the rear of the room open as a formally dressed woman in kimono, barefoot, steps gently into the room. You can barely hear her as she enters, and she places on the floor next to where each of you are sitting on the mattress one of those platters that has, among other things, painkillers, sake, water, and assorted fruit drinks.
Ooh, this is the way to live.
Yes. Thank you very much for your drinks. I don't suppose you have any coffee.
Coffee, she says. Tea?
strong tea. Really,
bows
really
and
strong
nods.
tea. If it can stir itself, it's strong enough.
She giggles, bows and nods, and exits the room. Before long, after, I would say about 5 minutes, she returns with a small teapot, white in color with a blue embroidery around it, and adds it and 4 cups to the platter on the ground.
Right, gentlemen. Good
Ugh.
morning. Yeah, sorry, I've been a bit distracted. How are things going with you?
Oh, after food, I think the hangover will start to get better. Oh.
That's what you get for mixing your drinks.
Worth it.
Yes. Right, so we got a little bit of progress on our side. Sorry to kind of keep it all to business with you guys. But potentially have... well, I'm doing some work to kind of narrow it down. But potentially have something to investigate and potentially get more information on the people that, well, horribly try to, well, screw me over and horribly murder you people.
Did we ever figure out how the hell they found us on the boat in the middle of the ocean? That kind of seems like something got compromised or an inside job. Have we traced back on everybody else's side?
I'd need access to all of your info links, and I could potentially discover which one of them potentially got compromised.
Yep.
I want everyone up before we do that.
Yep.
But yeah, we've potentially got dealings with the PMC, which I assume was potentially hired by somebody else to, well, horribly mess with all of you.
That would explain the guys on the ship if it was part PMC, part pirates.
Well, it might be a little bit of a mixture of things, but I think somebody out there probably didn't like what we're up to. Maybe a rival to our American friend.
I was about to say, if the American government got wind of it and tried to kibosh things, but it's a little subtle for them.
I don't think it's the American government.
A rival gunrunner. I mean, somebody in the underworld that got cut out of a contract. That Mr.
Rival syndicate, maybe?
That could be all sorts of things. What we do know is this PMC primarily operates out of China, and they got links to this other group that we had issues with. So if we can... I don't know how far I can push the other group, but if we can see what we can get onto this Chinese-located one, since they happily aren't that far away, we might be able to make a bit of progress.
As long as Sasori doesn't want to declare war on Chinese PMC.
Then
Winston,
again,
it appears your pattern matching algorithm has finished its work. It doesn't find
my
any
chips
much.
are done.
It doesn't find too much more in terms of location analysis. However, because of your clever programming, it returns a probability that whoever wrote the original message, or rather the response, coming from Julong Sao, it's a 93% probability that it's a native English speaker.
Okay, that does help a little bit.
You hear a beeping in the corner of the room as the sound of an electronic alarm goes off. Rithus Exo's eyes flutter open as a monitor appears in front of his face. He grins at the rest of you and says, "Another message is finished."
Ooh.
He gestures in the air briefly, and a new email hovers in front of each of your vision.
Bloop.
John and Reverend Cowboy?
Subject line Primo Goods from the John at secarms.jp, a Japanese address, to Reverend Cowboy at the same Safad address before. It's in response to a message that says, next hall is looking promising. The red arrow Liang Z tells us the Luoyang is loaded with hardware. Pristine stuff, attachments, full autos. Are you sure you don't want in on? And then the corruption follows. And the message response says, I'll pass, Sifat. Too hot for Shuta. Now,
Shuta.
I would like each of you to roll against your IQ, and in your case, Asmi,
I'm going to gut him.
Yup.
I'm going to gut that little bastard.
Oh yeah, I got this. I'm like, I
Evan
recognize
has-
that name.
I was going to say, Evan has an excellent memory.
Well, if you straight up remember, you don't need to roll. It's the same as the first name of the arms dealer you met in the brothel last night.
Yup.
Yep.
Well,
Son of a bitch.
Well, that took care of that question, Winston.
Well, it also appears that I've got the contact address for Shooter as well.
so we're being gunned for. We're being gunned for by at least a contact of the guy.
Yeah,
Well,
this is a contact for Shuta.
Yeah, I think this might be the pirate selection of people that are horribly messing with us.
A grin just starts to appear on Silas's face.
Anything good?
No, just a thought. I'm rather good at something beyond simply making weapons. I'm rather good at chemistry. And he gets an explosion-y wink look in his eye.
Well, let me pass this one on to Sasori. I think he'll be interested in this one particularly. Beep, Sasori, I've got a present for you.
Sasori will press his interlink as he's making his way now, freshly dressed for the morning, towards his conference room and simply say, I was just about to have you summoned to breakfast.
Well, this I think will be a very good topic to talk over.
Very good. Tell the guard outside your room that you want to be taken to the conference room.
Right. I'll get some of my SI programs running in the meantime, but yeah, might as well go have a sit down. Guys?
Now, based on the security camera you cleverly placed in their bedroom, Sasori, you can see that the four of them are gathered around an invisible monitor. You can't see what any of them are reading, but something seems to have captured their attention.
Also fruit. Nom 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 nom.
It was fruit drinks. Breakfast is in the conference room.
But is there coffee?
We got
Is there
super
coffee?
tea. Super tea!
You can order for coffee down from the guest buffet upstairs.
Very
I can't
good.
attest
We
to
will,
its quality, however.
we will
Well,
order for...
certain things are required to run at top efficiency.
Very well. We will order a pot of coffee. Fuck knows if it's drinkable.
This is Japan, of course it's not fucking drinkable.
Reminds me of my military days.
The meeting
What,
room
we-
that you all are gathering in is ungodly bright, it seems, to the rest of you. Those of you who have armored shades, snap them over your vision immediately. Sunlight is
Helmet
streaming.
goes on. Thunk.
You're now a level up on the ground level. Still no pesky tourists running through this area. It's in the business and tourism section of the facility. A
Yes,
small, crafted bonsai tree lies in the middle of the table as telemetry and electronics adorn the sides of the room.
Osmi will sit himself down, make himself comfortable, and start grabbing a bit of food.
May we perhaps interest you in chopsticks, Osmi-san?
Yeah, I always wanted to get the hang of those.
There are basically Sasori will eat with incredibly decorative black chopsticks that have a coiling green dragon mon motif. He will pass Asmi the portable, breakable chopsticks you get from the from any bad Chinese takeaway.
You have to break apart and roll in your hands.
Yes.
Sasori hands you a red sleeve of cheap wooden chopsticks with some indecipherable Japanese written on the outside. You deduce that they might have been taken from the back lot of a delivery.
Ooh, just like at the restaurants. Crack.
Do you have anything? You wouldn't happen to have anything in Japanese or Chinese etiquette, would you?
No. None.
Sasori and the rest of you who are familiar note the fact that Asmi has been somewhat rude with his chopsticks. First of all, he wiped them against each other to remove any, loose splinters.
Which you're only supposed to do like underneath the table and stuff. You're meant to do it surreptitiously.
Yes, and he's not using the back of his chopsticks as he goes into the giant collection plate of sushi and sashimi. He just basically shovels them.
Oh God, no! You
Asmi-san has... I raised my eyebrow at the other man's outburst, calmly looking him up and down, coldly.
I'll save some for you too.
Before he looks at Asmi and simply says, his face a mask of porcelain perfection, "You do my table great service, Asmi-san."
Oh.
And continues to
Silas
eat very slowly.
Silas just looks at Masuta with a look of, "Say what?"
Then again, he had the complete correct response on that. He was handed a cheap pair of chopsticks, and he wiped them clean of the splinters as a calculated insult to the host, who literally said, "I'm giving him a cheap-ass pair of chopsticks."
Whereas you, what was your character name, Anthony?
Silas Deacon.
Whereas you, Mr. Deacon, note that he doesn't call you Deacon-san, have brought dishonor to my table in the form of your outburst, and I will ask you now to please leave it.
He actually gets up and then just looks at Masuta and says quite stiffly, "Well, at least when it comes to the appropriate etiquette, I'm honest, Masuta-san." And then he walks away.
And Fisa. If she's there, and Fisa. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm here, yes.
One round left me, please.
As you wish. And she cocks her gun.
Give me a second, I just want to check one thing first before you
Really, guys?
I have low empathy as a flaw, so that's a thing.
No, but...
no, I'm
I
actually...
literally have no fucks to give.
I have that wonderful, I can't remember its name, I'm getting my character sheet up now. I can't be insulted, or else I react.
More commonly known as the bad-tempered douchebag flaw.
Oh, okay. Bad-tempered douchebag flaw makes sense.
Yeah, I'm actually looking for the basically the stats of the armor.
I believe the armor was clamshell, so it's like 30.
Clamshell only affects your torso, not your legs.
Yeah, I have full power armor.
You have reflex armor, if I remember right, which is 12 DR,
Yep.
plus whatever bonuses you might have from your augments.
Yep,
So
the augments add on a little bit.
I was going to say, this character cannot, honest to God, take an insult.
Fair enough,
Actually,
fair enough. It just might also lead to the point of, I really don't want to have to spend my time fixing up his leg.
Actually, no, this will, to be fair, I actually misread it. Bertrand, can you please roll me 3 dice?
Absolutely.
Hang on, I get lower body exoskeleton for 8 reduction.
Total of 11.
Ooh, I actually do lose my calm. So, yeah, this happens.
Yay for disadvantages.
Hey, I'm doing it by the book. So Becca, if you wouldn't mind please taking the shot.
Yep. My 3 dice, and compared to my, dexterity?
The firearm skill, so you basically have to critically fail or you're going to hit him.
Actually, but powered combat armor, which I believe I have, is damage reduction of 70.
What?
70/50.
You shouldn't have power armor unless you blew all of your money on the things.
Also, if power armor existed, I would have it. Bertrand, is there...
Howard combat armor, Ultratech. I paid $80,000 for it, $10,000 for the helmet.
Do you have a page number for that?
I do indeed. I'm looking at the chart now. It's on page 186 of Ultratech.
Sorry, the
Howard combat armor.
guns.
Yeah. DR 70/50, cost $80,000, weight 150, power E/18 hours, LC 1.
By the way, since guns are getting drawn out, excuse me, I'm going to go out and have a cigarette. In reality, I'm also going to go out and have a cigarette.
Okay, powered combat armor is a thing. However, the catch is the legality code 1, which basically means you have to be active in the military to get it. Now, there may be ways, but you're probably not starting with it.
You did approve it, Mia. I gave you the sheet to look over, man.
I don't even remember you having that much money.
What do you mean? Do you need me to look over the sheet again? Then it's in the fucking.
Yeah, let me take a look. Let's see.
Look on Facebook chat. Look on Facebook chat.
Deacon. Here we go.
You will see my in the Facebook chat. I sent you a copy of the character sheet. Look it over. You will see it is right fucking there.
Yep, it's there, and I approved it. But unfortunately, the legality code wasn't written anywhere on the sheet, so I did not notice that.
I didn't make. Fine, I get shot, I die!
I can give you...
I get shot.
Severely inconvenienced.
I can give you... I mean, the closest thing would either be... So you've got your reflex armor. I can give you, let's say off the top of my head, an additional 20 DR for your augments if you've paid for powered reduction there. Say, ballistic protection.
I don't even know at that point.
Yeah, so it'll be 20 plus 12, so you'll have a 32. If you assuming he hits you in the torso.
I ordered her to hit him in the leg.
Yeah, the leg. That's the size of a major fucking artery.
I dodged the artery. God, it's almost like I've handled the gun before.
I'd like to point out, Anthony, your legs aren't made of flesh.
They are.
Oh.
His are. Mine aren't.
Remember, I decided to go with the lower body exoskeleton in the end.
Ah. By the way, Bertrand, now I know that power armor exists.
We need to go shopping!
Shopping!
Yes, indeed it does. So I will work with you later, Anthony, to correct that on your character sheets. Thank you for pointing that out to me. And I will give you an option, augmentation-wise, to help resolve it a little bit.
Basically, Anthony, for fun and kooky roleplay purposes, how about we just set a point of damage that you're going to take and you'll fall to one knee?
Have you rolled yet, Anfisa?
Nope, not at all.
Okay.
Roll
now,
them
you're
both.
specifically trying to make this a non-lethal hit, I assume.
Yes.
Okay, so you're going to be taking a -5 plus 3, so we'll do that a -2 because of your proximity. So go ahead and roll 3d6 against whatever weapon you're using, pistol, rifles, what have you.
I would assume we're just using the sidearm, so yeah.
Yeah, you probably don't want to pull out the 50 cal.
No. Alright, so that'll be 7 total, and then that's against...
That's against a 16.
Yeah. I'm pretty good at this. So.
Yeah. So not only is it a hit in the leg, but it successfully avoids the femoral artery and hopefully the bone. Go ahead and roll damage on that.
Alright, what do I need for that? Evan?
If it's a pistol, roll 2 dice, so 2d6 and add 2.
Ew, it's a 9.
Okay.
How does damage work in this game, BR?
You have a reflex suit on, and she has just dealt you, let's see, 11 points. No. That's a 3, right? So 9 points of damage. So, The bullet impacts just above your kneecap on your right leg. It flattens against your exoskeleton and doesn't appear to penetrate. However, some fragments break off, and you can see it just breaking through the surface of the pants that you're wearing underneath.
Will it drop him to one knee?
It will roll against your dexterity.
Okay, hold on. I'm probably going to fail this roll, if just told. And yeah, I failed it.
You stagger backwards out of your seat and fall on your butt.
Thank you, Anfisa.
Osmi will drop whatever he's holding in his chopsticks and be like, whoa, 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 whoa. There is someone for you to shoot. We have a nice little email.
Yes? I do beg your pardon, Osmi-san, if you have been caused grave offence by this. However, he dishonoured the table not once, but twice. Thus it was that I am, shall we say, inclined to take action against him.
Oh.
No, I have not caused offence to you. And he will bow his head respectfully to Osmi.
None taken. I did not understand the situation. Please continue.
Once
Silas, are you alright?
Once Sars gets back to his feet, he will look at the room, and then he will, after a couple of seconds, he will just bow, and basically, where is the nearest member of staff?
Outside the room, walking through the hallway.
Okay, as in the nearest one, he can basically ask for information.
Yeah, if you want to walk right outside the room and pull one of the Yakuza soldiers aside and attempt to communicate, you're welcome to.
He's basically looking for someone who knows enough English to... Actually, no, he can just do it over his info link.
Mm-hmm.
He will politely say, just one moment. Step just outside the door, so he can just walk in, and then over his info link, he will essentially book a flight to the US.
Okay.
Oh, no, my friend. The fact of the matter is that you are now my property. You were marked by us last night. I own you.
Ooh. Hey, Silas. Why don't you go ahead and roll against your paranoia for a moment?
Yes, I have it. What do I have to roll? What number?
Make it a basic 3d6 against, we'll say, your
No.
health.
Okay. I succeeded.
Yeah, this new boss that you've got just doesn't seem to be working out, does it?
Right. He will proceed. He will notice that, hearing that, he will proceed to confirm the flight and start walking away.
Okay.
Sasori will very calmly stand from his chair, and he will simply say, "Gentlemen, will you excuse me while I discipline a member of my staff?" And he will once again back.
Sasori exits the room. Now, you can see from your telemetry that he's headed towards one of the upper levels in the exit of the Nagoya Castle where he came in through the front door. Did you want to order your men to stop him?
Oh yes.
Okay, as you make your way towards the front entrance, two men carrying sidearms and submachine guns, heavily tattooed, stand in front of your way.
Oh, it's going to be one of those days.
I was going to say, Anthony, I love this is great. You took the mark yesterday. Yakuza,
He'll just keep walking and use his hands to basically try and gently maneuver them out of the way.
Okay.
He's trying to shoulder past them, essentially.
What's your initiative?
Let's see, where the hell is that list in this sheet?
It's your basic speed, if I remember right.
Alright, 7.
Oh yeah, you definitely go first.
And
so
this
you
is
need
why
to
you don't join the Yakuza.
We could have. In his defense, he was absolutely shit-faced.
So you need to succeed on a contested strength roll in order to shove your way past them. So go ahead and roll. I'll be rolling for them. There's 2 of them. Is your strength augmented at all?
No, I do have boosted reflexes, but no strength augments that I know of.
Okay.
So, that's a total of 20.
You rolled d10s, I'm afraid.
Fuck off. I hate d10s. Okay, that's a 9. So.
Okay.
And my strength is 10, so that's just 1 below my strength.
Okay. They beat you by 1. So one of them manages to hold onto your shoulder as your neck sort of runs. The automatic doors at the front of the facility open as if you're trying to walk through, and then as you're pressed backwards, close. You have a free turn to act if you want to draw your weapon.
No, he'll just make another attempt to walk through the door.
Okay.
Basically trying to strain and get out the door. He's just thinking, fuck this noise, I'm going.
Okay. Give me another contested strength roll to try and break free.
I mean, he knows full well, these guys have got submachine guns. In a gunfight, he's going to lose. That's another 9.
And you don't have wrestling or anything like that?
No.
Okay.
He's a tech guy.
7, 12. Okay. You break free from both of them as one of them sort of staggers backwards and the doorway is once again clear for you, but that concludes your action and now it's their turn to act.
Right.
Yakuza number 1 readies his weapon. You can hear the click-clack of bullets being loaded in the back behind you.
And Pisa, I get the distinct impression that we're about to, you know, do some weird shit. Well.
Outside the front gate, you can see the stunned expression of a tourist as he looks through the glass and sees you, a heavily augmented individual, with 2 tattooed men behind him pointing guns at you.
May I address my? May I use my info link to get into the castle's? How would one say?
Intercom.
Intercom. Yes.
Yeah, there's not a global one. There isn't one downstairs, but you can access the upstairs one.
Ladies and gentlemen, please do not be alarmed, as my staff are merely trying to apprehend an individual who has been caught shoplifting from our gift department. We thank you for your time and patronage.
Okay.
Holy shit, don't rob this place.
Go ahead and roll deception for me.
Bertrand, go ahead and roll deception for me.
Go ahead and botch deception for him.
Botch.
Now, do you have charisma or anything like that?
I do. I actually have deception.
Oh, you have deception. Okay, well, I have 9, 11 here.
You have 11?
Mm-hmm.
I have 12. Huzzah.
Okay, you succeed. The woman outside is unable to hear the intercom, but staring at the scene that's about to play out, she looks like she's about to leave.
Now then, I walked out nearly directly after Anthony. So may I just use a turn to speak?
Absolutely.
Now then, we don't have to be unpleasant about this. You were a naughty child. I, as the father of you all, merely taught you a lesson. Now that you are more than welcome, now you have been chastised, to come back to the dinner table. Or the breakfast table.
So the guys have pulled the guns up on me, right?
Yes.
I at no point have stopped walking.
Well, they stopped you when they did their strength roll. That's when they stopped.
No. I managed to break free of them, if you remember.
Mm-hmm.
And started walking out the
Evan
door.
has taken his turn, and if you want to take your turn, you can take a move action out the front door if you want.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to keep walking.
Okay.
Because I'm just thinking, this fucker's probably his behaviour so far has basically proven, yeah, this is a guy I don't want having my life in his hands, and he thinks he already does. So, if he thinks he has property, I'd rather be dead.
I know, but at the same time, you could also time your exit a little bit better.
Yeah.
No.
Actually, at this point, Sasori merely motions to the guards, and he simply says, "No, let him go."
The guards put their hands up to their ears, and you hear the sound of guns being unloaded as the men return to attention near the front door. The rest of the way for you is clear, but you can see Yakuza members staring at you as you leave. You walk around the corner and now find yourself on a busy city street in Japan.
I will use my info link to find the nearest taxi cab and find the nearest taxi rank and get a taxi to the airport.
Okay.
Gent,
One of the automatic vehicles you rode in yesterday, white in color, small and dome shape, after a minute or two pulls up alongside you by the side of the road.
As I said, I'll take it to the airport.
Sasori will simply yawn, at which point he will touch his info link as he walks back towards the kitchen table and simply say, I wish to speak to the head of security at X name airport, please.
Tokyo International. Security services here.
Gentlemen, there is a rather dangerous individual who is fast approaching you. I will give you his relevant information. He is coming armed. He is coming to the airport armed, and I do believe dangerous. Please apprehend him on sight.
What is your name and information, sir?
Hang on just a second, sorry. I may be choking on tea out of character.
That's
Last we heard of Evan.
That's karmic retribution.
No, Anthony, because karma hates you. Oh, I'm good. Oh, okay. Sorry, I'm back. I'm just going to say simply a concerned citizen. You can make me the deceit roll if you want, Bertrand, or however you want to roll that.
You know, I'm thinking back on things right now. We've gone into the realm of PvP right here.
Oh, hell yes.
Like, pretty heavily. Not really the way that I like to run things, personally. I think that there are ways of restraining, Anthony, or at the very least reprimanding him that didn't involve shooting him in the leg. And if you want to rewind to that point and take the opportunity to do that, I will let you do that.
No, it's Fambio. Silas is going to leave. It's the attitude.
Yeah, no, I understand that, but
He doesn't
the way that I generally do things is that PvP is okay, but the players have to agree upon it in advance, and that didn't happen here.
Well, as I say, the problem is, for the in-character perspective, the getting shot at doesn't really bother him. It didn't actually hurt him ultimately. It was the attitude of I own you. He can't stand that attitude. You know what his paranoia is based on.
You have to understand. Okay, I don't mind, Bertrand. If you want to rewind, I'm cool. As I said, I merely reacted the way my disadvantage on my sheet says I have to react, which is I will meet any insult with force.
I understand, but I would change that modulo so that it does not have to necessarily be with force, because the code still supersedes the game text.
Yeah. Can I just chip in? I don't know how Evan knows that he went and booked a plane flight on his info link, and then went to leave, and then knows exactly which airport that he's going to.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
I would have personally assumed that you're using my network, being in my establishment.
I thought info links were more personalized.
I thought they were like internet connections.
It's radial, so that if you want to, you can wiretap communications inside your local facility, and I have been doing so. But when he walks out the front of the building, it's no longer accessible to you.
Oh yeah, but everything. I was going to say everything he did. He booked the flight in the establishment. I'm basically Bertrand. I'm cool if you want to do rewind, and if you would rather have PvP be discussed beforehand, that's entirely cool. From the perspective of I own you, I own him from my character's perspective, and it's because we gave him the choice. We said, "Do you want to join us?" And he's just like, "Yeah." He took our mark. He is one of us until he's opted to be released.
Yeah, I understand. No, the way that I like to run things, and this is a house rule, is that, if a PvP situation like that is about to happen, you can stop the in-character roleplay and just kind of pull them aside and discuss it OOC-ly about what you're going to do.
My concept was that he was going to get arrested in the airport, at which point I was just simply going to go down and collect him anyway.
Yeah. And I'm just saying, you know, you want to do that kind of thing, just, you know, make sure you pull them aside OCly first, that's all. I'm glad we had the opportunity to talk about it.
Because it's an internet game, it's, you can't really pull people aside as easily as you would if it was just in person.
Yeah.
So
no, you just have to say, I'm stopping it here, basically.
Yeah.
You know, I leave it entirely to you, BR. Whatever you want to do is your game. I'm not married to anything one way or the other.
Okay. It's mainly you that I need to talk to, Tony. Not because I think you did anything wrong, but because if your character just walks away at this point, you're presumably out of the session. And
I was looking at. I was going to say this is where I depart anyway, because, as I say, for the character, it's the attitude of he won't stand for being owned. So it's a conflict of in-character attitudes.
Why do you accept the? I'm curious. I'm not being accusatory, but why did you accept?
Because the way he views organized crime is very mafia based. He has the savoir-faire thing. So to him, it's we are a family. We're not property. And then you say, oh, well, I own you. That's a different attitude to the way he imagines organized crime to be. And he doesn't stand for that attitude.
Let me give you a few relevant pieces of information that you would know. Of course, how you decide to react to this is totally up to you. The first thing is that pretty much no mafia that you know of is anything that you could ever safely walk away from. Especially as a new recruit, and especially as a foreign recruit, you'll very likely be hunted, and you would know that. With your paranoia kicking in earlier, you're also very afraid right now. You have that sort of in the edges, and you might be looking for an opportunity to escape at this point. But walking out the front door would seem to you to be very unlikely that you would ever reach the airport alive. At least that's what your paranoia is telling you at this point.
But assumably my paranoia would also be screaming at me, if I stay, I'm going to get killed. Because this guy is going to decide he doesn't want me around anymore, so I'm going to die either way.
Definitely a little bit of a psycho.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely don't like your boss, however, this kind of thing is really only a cultural difference between things that you've already seen in mafias.
I was going to say, bear in mind, Anthony...
Never walk away from the family.
Yeah, no, in the Yakuza, I'm well within my right to chastise you as I see fit, to the extent I could demand your fingers be chopped off if I felt that you dishonored me. As it stands, you got a boo-boo to the leg, and we're told to sit back down for basically disrespecting your boss in public. It kind of then spiraled. You could have just sat back down, and it would have been forgotten.
And all of that realism aside, that's not the kind of relationship I want player characters in the group to have with each other. I don't want you to go quite that, again, as like sort of a out-of-game bro code. I don't want you to be that overbearing with other people in the party, because they're going to feel pretty railroaded by that. That aside, however, if your character, you might decide, Anthony, that your character has just committed himself to wanting to escape at this point, and you're just looking for an opportunity for that. I leave it up to you. But this kind of...
Bertrand is, I wouldn't do that. I would not respond. Like, bear in mind, Asmi equally as much offered me immense offense out of cultural faux pas, but he doesn't have my mark. He's not mine. So I responded with smiles and courtesy, as any Japanese person would, to being insulted.
I understand the coherent logic of it, Evan. It's just that there's things that can be justified based on what you know, and then there are things that I'm just not comfortable with in a game, which I tend to feel is more important.
That's why I've said, Bertrand, I don't mind whatever you decide to do. It's up to you, bro. By all means. If you
and
feel
it's all good. I'm glad that we had the opportunity to talk about this, because we're 5th session in. This is the first time it's come up. So that's actually, I count that as pretty good. It's just that there's a couple of things that you have to keep in mind, Tony. One, that it's very difficult to get away from what you signed yourself up from, to the course that you're on right now, going out to the airport you know is unlikely to succeed. And third, there's the OOC consideration that's basically the end of Silas if you decide to walk out.
That's why, Anthony, I was trying to turn it around after it happened and basically go, whatever happens, just sit back down, we will continue. Because if you walk out, you're out. There is no way back, essentially. You're out of the session. Not necessarily there's no way back, but there's no way back in the session, essentially.
So why don't I want to rewind things to the boardroom scene. And let's go there to before the part of the conversation that took place that offended you, Sasori. What has happened here is Asmi has reached for the collection plate of sushi and sashimi with the front of his chopsticks, and the rest of you are about to begin discussing the email. Does that sound good to you?
Yeah, I'm 100% fine with that if Anthony's okay with that.
You there, Anthony?
Is he there? I can't actually see the...
Nah, he's muted. Let's see, Micah, are you there?
Just sat back down.
Cool. Alright, we're gonna pick things up in the middle of the scene where you've just gone for the sushi and the sashimi.
Yep.
And we're just gonna roleplay through that.
Sounds good.
Okay, so you all have received the group email at this point. It's implicated something called the Red Arrow. Shuta, whose name screams out in your memory, is the arms dealer you met previously. And also, that gentleman in Hengsha, whose address you're trying to localize, or Winston Truliad is trying to localize. Most of this progress Sasori is not aware of.
Where is Hengsha? I do feel drawn to ask.
Hengsha is along the southern coast in China. It's actually an artificially built and dredged city, and it is one of the great ports of the Chinese mainland. It's also home to one of the largest biotech companies in the world.
Okay.
Great city, good nightlife.
That's all we need. There is booze and there is poontang. Behold the extent of needed knowledge. Okay, so Justin, you were going to tell me what you were working on to try and ascertain things. Malarkey.
Oh, yes. Nearly forgot about that. Well, I believe I got that email forwarded on to you about a certain friend of yours.
Yes. Once again, very, very kind of glassy, very impassioned look upon Sasori's face. The mask of porcelain, as I'm going to call it. He doesn't appear to care one way or the other, but inside he is deeply seething as he contemplates the hilariously over-the-top revenges he is going to commit.
This person didn't take part in it. So...
He simply touches his info link and contacts Daisuke, at which point he requests that can't remember his name.
Shuta?
Yeah, Shuta. Mr. Shuta is invited to attend a meeting here later on this afternoon after they've met with the representatives of the other triad.
Now, this gentleman could be handy to us. He didn't actually take part in it, but he has connections to potentially the people that messed us over.
Mr. Shuta understands one thing and one thing only, and that is the language of currency. If we pay him enough, he will sing like a bird.
Excellent. Now, following on from that, I'm currently tracking down the location where certain bits were sent from a certain private military firm that operates a bit of a distance away. These are the people that attempted to, I believe, shoot you down while you're aboard your ship.
We never did obtain the identity of the individuals who were responsible for the assault upon my ship.
Well, now we have potentially the identity of the individuals that were responsible for the assault on the ship. Not necessarily the wise, we got a little bit of mixture of their side business related to it. Such as, you got lots of guns, let's get those, and hence those pirates were involved. But beyond that, we have no real reason beyond gun running for them to do their thing, so we need to take a closer look, and I'm going to be attempting to crack a certain military hardware in order to try see what further information they've got hiding around. So this might take me a while. At the very least, I might be able to do a physical location of where certain messages were sent, which might give us an identity, or at least where a certain person works that helped organize this, and this provides you another link of investigation.
Yeah, this red arrow sounds like an actual lead.
Yes. So we've got a few routes to go down. That route is going to take me a little while. I'm calling in a little bit of side help to help me with the project, but it's going to take me a while before I can get things down a little bit further.
And jog my memory on that, OOC Lee. You were asking for a way to try and penetrate their network without getting detected, right?
Yes.
Right, okay.
My idea was essentially, as a two-person operation, I would handle main penetration gating thing while literally having another person whose only job is to cover me. Like, cover tracks, redirect alerts, redirect traces, that type of thing. So I can focus entirely on getting in while another person entirely focuses on not getting me horribly screwed over.
Gotcha.
And also can potentially warn me if, they got a trace and you shut down the connection now.
Are you going to go ahead and run your pattern recognition on the second email you got?
Oh, hell yes.
Okay. After a moment or two, a notice pops up in the corner of your vision. First of all, there's only a 63% possibility that Reverend Cowboy is a native English speaker. However, two patterns stand out. Information on the Luoyang, of which only public information is available, but of course you remember that is the name of the tanker you were on. Mm-hmm. The red arrow is a major Chinese triad. And so the sentence that reads, the red arrow Liang Zi tells us that the Luoyang is loaded. That means red arrow contact.
Yep.
No, in which case, we happen to have an expert on local criminal syndicates right over here.
Yo. I was going to ask, have we ever had any cause to have any issue or blood with the with said red arrow triad?
Looking back in your memory, the triads have been a pain in your side for a very long time. Arm trading particularly, and also in all sorts of areas. Basically, unlike with the Yakuza, you have to distinguish between the triads and the Chinese government. The relationship with the Chinese government is hot and cold. The relationship with the triads is pretty hostile.
I see.
It's not an open war at this point. And an attack on you would be an act of war.
Yes, this is... okay. I see. Well, it seems to suggest that and Sasori will say this in character, he will look over the email and he'll simply say, it seems to suggest that the Red Arrow were attempting to broker information as to my arms shipment and deal with Lebedev-san. So, the fact of the matter is that it's going to be... The fact of the matter is that there was either a security link on our side, or there was a security link on his side, or indeed, it's Triad, isn't it, Justin?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Or indeed, Mr. Triad, there was a security leak on your side.
All means are possible.
I was about to say...
If you let me have an examination, I'm quite willing to have a check for where that security leak is. Naturally, I doubt a little bit on my side of the security leak, since I tends to make a living out of not having security leaks.
Well, somebody knew enough to find you and get you, and...
Yes, well, because someone requested my personal presence, and so I got involved personally when it came to this. So at that point, I became exposed.
And Mr. Triad and I will go through, my own info link and contact trail to make sure nothing from me or my organization has compromised this.
That would work.
The simple fact of the matter is, gentlemen, Sasori will then gently dab either side of his mouth with his napkin before folding it and placing it to the right-hand side of his plate. The simple fact of the matter still remains that if it is indeed the Red Arrow Triad and they attempted to assassinate me, the leader of the Sumeragi Kai, then it would represent a huge shift in the underworld politics of Southeast Asia. This would be a very, shall we say, endemic situation.
Indeed. Would not be good for further business.
No.
In fact, Sasori, or the rest of you, I believe you, Sasori, have history or culture relative to the region, right?
Yes, I do.
Right, okay, go ahead and roll against your history then.
Go ahead and roll against my history, Richard.
Gotta get you some physical dice. 5, 8, 13.
Nope.
Okay.
Bloop, bloop, bloop.
You're not quite sure. I mean, historically you're aware of the fact that the triads traditionally enjoy the chess game of politics, or the go game if you prefer. Always in the shadows, never making any overt gestures like this one. So this would be a first in the history of your relations. It's always been icy, but you're not sure if something might have changed in the region, or simply that they thought they wouldn't get caught by going through a group in Cambodia.
Either is possible.
Remember that this Red Arrow member was simply passing on information. They might not be directly involved at your attempted killing, only indirectly.
And there's always the possibility that someone's blowing smoke up our ass.
Yeah, and then again, there's good business in finding out this type of information and selling it as pay data to the right people.
Until we have answers, gentlemen, we have nothing but speculation. The fact of the matter is that for any moves, and I mean any moves to be made or indeed taken, we require more grounding upon which to place our feet.
Well, to be perfectly honest, we need to know what game we're playing.
Indeed. So, I have a meeting this evening with representatives from some of the other organizations throughout Japan who have apparently come forward with what they feel is pertinent information towards the attempted assassination and sinking of the Luoyang. If you gentlemen would care to accompany me to the meeting this afternoon, we may
The meeting is going to take place about 20 minutes from now as you look at the clock in the corner of your vision.
If you want to hire me for some extra work, I'm willing to work on some verification on what they provide.
What do you mean?
They're going to be providing you information. They will be respecting awards for it. That information needs to be verified on whether it's true, false, hearsay.
So what you're saying, Mr. Triad, is that you're wishing to be hired for verification of stuff.
Yes, well, might as well while I'm here.
What is your standard rate?
I give him my standard rate.
Bertrand, what is his standard rate?
Justin, what is your standard rate?
Reasonably expensive.
Let's see.
If it's just information tracking and verification, just basically code, not necessarily legal but fast and effective, it's probably a couple grand.
I mean, normally these types of underworld deals are paid by the job, not by the hour.
Yes.
Well, yeah, this is an individual job, so...
Ballpark of a few thousand bulbs would seem appropriate, given that you have a mutual interest.
All right, in that case, 2,000 bulbs?
Simply because you're a good drinking buddy, yes.
I always knew that my pertinent alcoholism would come in handy in my business acumen.
Well, let me get things set up. I've still got our web crawlers and other things working, and I've got some code to compile as well for our side location. Eventually, I'll be able to have a go at what I was planning for some of my work tonight. But in the meantime, I can get everything prepared for you.
Good.
And I am at your disposal for as long as we are business partners.
Indeed, we shall have to have a conversation ourselves about after the just disastrous loss of the Luoyang arms shipment. Yes, we shall have to have a discussion about the replacement of those arms. After all, otherwise, poor Mr. Lebedev's troops may well be marching armed with nothing but slingshots and prayers.
Also, on a bit on the verification service, so just send me a message for things that you want verified or checked into while you're doing your meeting, and I'll have everything sent directly by your link.
Understood. I thank you, Mr. Triad, and I hope that your services are as exemplary as I recall them being in the past.
Right, well, let's get to work. This will also be a good test for my web trolling system I've been putting together.
Mm-hmm.
A message pops up in your inbox, address unknown. It seems that your contacts have responded to your missive.
Ah, yes, what we got?
You caught a big fish here, Baton, the message says. So far, initial vulnerability scans have not proven faithful. I could put Janice onto it, but frankly, our credit's not that good.
I might have someone willing to foot the bill.
Within a few moments, the message pops back. It's not money that would concern Janice. Penetrating into one of the largest PMC security networks is no small task.
I thought it would be a matter of pride by this point.
I'm thinking it would be safer for you, Breton, to do a black bag job on this one. Social engineering is more vulnerable than their network, which has one of the most sophisticated AIs on the planet.
Oh, that bad? Okay. I'll have to rethink that. Well, thanks for the advice. But yeah, if you could put a word out to the guys that these people they're up to something, and it might be worth paying attention to some of their operations.
La Academy has been on our radar for the past 50 years. You don't know the half of it, Breton.
Well, we'll catch up later. Thank you. Over and out.
The line goes dead. So, this is serious. This is the first time that they have not been able to instantly and immediately find a vulnerability for you.
Well, this type of thing, if it's that big, these people have a lot more power behind them than I thought they did. And number two is, we have no reason for the collective to get into a major internet confrontation for potentially small investigation. There's not enough risk reward for them to go full forward, and I'm perfectly happy with that. But yeah, it's going to be tough enough to crack. But they also gave some good advice. So, well, while we can't potentially crack the system, we can potentially crack their people.
Mm-hmm. A final message responds, and after the line goes dead, and says, "If you do manage to find anything in the inside, the collective would be interested."
Okay, well, I'll have to have a work with that, but I need to do well, I've got a few minutes before we have our meeting happen, but I can put together a little thing to start doing a track down of employees of this firm. I just want a large list of employees. Might have to have a look at some off-the-book things for their side employees, and they might have to see what's potentially vulnerable from other things for what their undercover employees are. So that's easy, medium, hard. But potentially, if their own stuff is not vulnerable, other people's stuff is.
Finding the list of employee names listed publicly on their website, including the CEO of their local precinct, is easy enough. But most of the information besides that is obfuscated. There's less information available publicly than you would normally expect from a PMC.
It's a military firm. They really don't want.
I have an interesting concept, Mr. Truliad, if I may voice my opinion. Red Arrow are the organization you're seeking to infiltrate, correct?
No,
I thought it was.
No, they're the pirate section.
Sorry. Which is the PM? Yeah, no, the PMC. Which PMC is it you wish to infiltrate?
What was the name again, Bjorn?
La Academy.
The Academy.
Well, I could
Not
arrange
French.
a meeting. They're not French, they're Australian. I could arrange a meeting with La Academy in order to, shall we say, procure their services. If I can get you inside the building, would that be sufficient?
On the inside, if I had a suitable cover, I could potentially get to the right area from a direct link to their network. That would bypass a lot of their outside security. I'd still have the problem of the AI, but if I could make or borrow something to appear as an employee, I can get past their internal security, and then I got free reign.
What can I say, Mr. Triad? I was always told that you had a mind that was greater than any AI on the planet. Don't disappoint me now.
Interesting.
So we need what? Badges? Access codes?
Yeah, standard hall. How about, I think your guests are due in the next few minutes. How would you sort that out? Give me some time to think while I work on that project, and I'll work on this.
As you say. Mr. Jones, would you care to accompany me?
Yes.
Good.
You receive a notice in your info link that your guest, Daikun Hua, has arrived. Ever faithful Daisuke has sent you a brief dossier about the man. He's a Korean male, age 59. Social, comfortable around others, self-centered, likes to be the center of attention, but he's one of the Danshaku of the Yamaguchi Gumi, which is the largest Yakuza syndicate, and a rival of yours.
Mm-hmm. He is Korean-born. That must have made it so that he rose through the ranks based on merit as opposed to bloodline, and as opposed to any form of nepotism.
Yes, and as you would know, while there is a significant amount of nationalism, Koreans are overrepresented in the Yakuza than they are in the Japanese population, simply because it's hard for them to succeed ordinarily.
Very good. We'll receive him here, I think, if that's acceptable. Mr. Juliad, my facilities are at your disposal, and you may verify any information I'm given, as per our contract.
A small white car pulls into the visitor's lot. It has only one door on either side. You hear the hiss of hydraulics as the door slides open and a small, thin Korean man steps out. You see a dusting of gray hair crowning his head. The man is dressed in business attire. He bows slightly at the guards as he enters, who direct him downstairs to the boardroom. As he enters the room, the two men part, and he says to you, "Greetings, Sasori-sama," and nods at the rest of you. "I am glad your companion's in here. Tidings and good fortune from the Yamaguchi Gumi. It has been too long."
Indeed it has, honored friend. If you would care to take a seat, might we offer some refreshment?
"Yes," he says. "Water, if you have any of it, please," and he nods at the girl near the door.
Absolutely. Now then, shall we get straight to business?
"Yes, first let me say how troubled I am to hear of recent difficulties you encountered in the South China Sea."
Indeed, it would seem as though not even the great and the good can travel freely anymore, he says with a slight smirk.
"An attack on that level against one of us is an attack against all of us," he says with a nod.
Of course. I was led to understand that you had information that you felt may be pertinent.
"Yes, we have information gathered from SAT footage in the region. We make a routine habit of monitoring communications in the South China Sea. You never know when that might come in handy."
Indeed.
"It seems that the men that invaded your ship had a staging platform, a smaller ship, about 3 miles away from where yours was making its course. Presumably they knew where you were going and when you were going to be there."
I see. Were you able to identify the ship?
"The ship had no markings of any kind that we were able to identify. However, we were able to eavesdrop on their communications traffic, encrypted as you would expect, but that doesn't prevent us from ascertaining where the message is being sent to and where it is coming from," he says with a smile.
Where is it that the message was relayed from?
There was a significant amount of traffic that we captured in the region. Of course, there's a lot of interference and a lot of communication going on in general, and so our AI searches for shifts in the pattern. And in this case, the message, I think, as you already know, arrived in Cambodia, but it was sent from Hengsha on the Chinese coast.
I see. All roads appear to lead to Hengsha.
He puzzles for a second at your inquiry. This doesn't seem to have surprised you.
No, it has not. We have received information that said that the Red Arrow Triad may have been involved, which, as I'm sure you realize, we find deeply worrying.
A look of concern crosses the man's face. Who was it that found this information? He says, looking over the faces of your companions.
Are you still here, Justin, or did you...
He's away for a second.
I'm back. Okay. I'm back.
A look of concern crosses the man's face. Who was it among you that found this information concerning the Red Arrow Triad?
He's a valued individual at the moment.
And are you absolutely certain it was them, he says, to no one in particular?
From the source is extremely reliable.
The man leaned back in his chair
Internal
and runs his hands over his face. This, I'm sure I don't need to tell you, represents a significant change. They've not done something like this before in at least 2 decades. We must proceed carefully. No cowboying out, I trust.
I should also point out that individual people within an organization, some people get too big for their boots. I think even the Red Arrows might accept that point.
So, would you suggest bringing the message to the Red Arrow's attention and see how they react?
I'm not good at diplomacy. We've got other people for that.
It seems that you are full and well on your own sources of this information, but I was going to present you with an option. See if it interests you.
Evan just bounced out, so we'll just sort of assume.
Yeah, we shall not politely. Let's see, what would you say? Yes, we respect and appreciate your counsel.
I do beg your pardon. Sorry about that, gentlemen. I'm back now. What was happening in my absence?
You're respecting and appreciating his counsel. Deal with it.
I also pointed to you when he asked who got the information about Red Arrow, so... Whoop.
This information, well, I'll send it as a private message. This is information that we've whipped directly from the files at a certain location we are being kept at. That can be a private message to you.
The man says, well, I hope you will indulge me for a moment. Forgive me, Sasori-sama, but I think this is the longest conversation we've had. Normally I meet with Daisuke.
Indeed, Daisuke is unfortunately seeing the day-to-day business of the Syndicate, while my mind is currently occupied with these rather unpleasant matters.
Very well, the man says. Before I tell you what information I have concerning Hengsha, additionally, I would like to pose a question, and this is for each of you, he says, turning his shoulder and gesturing to the entire room. If you will permit me to wax loquacious for a moment, he says, taking a drink from his water.
Osmiel nods.
A riddle. There was once a lone widow who was very destitute, he says, with some embellishment, and having gone to the Mount Fuji, she beheld hermits holding a religious assembly. Then the woman was filled with joy, and uttering praises said, "It is well, holy priests, but while others give precious things such as the ocean caves produce, I have nothing to offer." Having spoken thus, and having searched herself in vain for something to give, she recollected that some time before she had found in a dung heap 2 coppers, so taking these she offered them as a gift to the priesthood in charity. The superior of the priests, a saint who could read the hearts of men, disregarding the rich gifts of others and beholding the deep faith dwelling in the heart of this poor widow, and wishing the priesthood to esteem rightly her religious merit, burst forth with full voice in a canto. He raised his right hand and said, "Reverend priests attend," and went on, "Being free from selfish greed, bearing the wealth of the broad earth, you may make the great Mount Fuji behind us move 3 steps." And it was observed that she moved the mountain 3 steps. How was this done? Keep in mind, I don't believe there is a right answer, but the answer is revealing.
Well, that's some of the basis over there is, let's see. Part of that riddle has a basis in Christian mythology as well as Buddhist mythology. A comparison between the rich that gives to the poor that gives. One gives what they have on the side, whereas the other gives what they really have, what really actually matters. One action is like a little fluttering of a breeze of the wind. The other action is the equivalent to an earthquake as far as its terms of individuals.
The man nods his head. An astute answer, clearly educated. "What do you think?" he says, gesturing at Asme.
You said the woman found the pennies, basically, in a dung heap, and none of the other priests would acknowledge her, only one would. So, the smallest little tidbit can move a mountain, but only if the right person notices.
The man nods. "Have you heard this riddle before, Sasori?"
Sasori places his thumb and his index finger on his chin, and he contemplates. "Oh, see, Bertrand, have I heard the riddle before? I know what my answer's going to be, but I'm just curious if I have or if I haven't."
I don't believe so, no.
Okay. Lord Buddha once walked an entire road of shale and sharpened stones, and gave his sandals to a man upon the roadside whom he deemed needed them more than he. Indeed, he did not rest until he had come to sit beneath the Bodhi tree once again. So it is that the smallest acts of kindness reverberate with the world. So it is that when 2 pennies, 2 pieces of copper, are given in reverence to that which one possesses faith, it can move the world.
"So it is," he said, nodding at the others, "that a single act of charity may move the world. Of course, my interpretation has simply been that she was set along the religious path, and that by walking 3 steps on Mount Fuji, she moved the mountain." He says, finishing his drink, "But of course, there is no right answer. Thank you for indulging my curiosity."
Many of the best riddles have many answers.
"So," he said, shifting his weight, "back to business. It would seem to me that, though we have discovered much, more information is needed, correct?"
By the way, BR, your voice has gone crackly again.
I was going to say, did anyone else hear that? Yeah.
Is that any better?
No, it's still crackly, but it's the type of crackly where if I wanted to use a voiceover for like doing hacking stuff, I would totally use it.
It's probably my network. Darn it.
Yeah.
I'll stop the background music. That might free up some bandwidth.
It's all those dirty old professors looking at their high energy intake porn. Damn it!
And running their microwaves.
Damn microwaves!
Oh, I'm so glad that isn't a thing anymore out here. It tormented me for years. Okay.
We still can barely hear you, Burrow.
So it's not volume.
Nope.
It's crackling still?
Yeah. It's just packet loss.
Grumble, grumble, grumble.
Grumble, grumble, grumble.
I'm going to temporarily exit DJ from the Hangout.
Yep.
There we go.
Give it 5
for a little
seconds. And say 1, 2, 3 testing.
Testing, testes, 1, 2.
No, it hasn't actually changed.
Hasn't changed.
It's better, but it's still there.
You're
Okay.
not as fucked, essentially. Think about it like that.
I'm just gonna switch microphones then. One sec.
Okay.
We apologize, ladies and gentlemen, for technical difficulties.
We are now on hold. Do 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 do. Do 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 do.
It's alright, Justin, it's cool. Bear in mind, the poor fans have already had to deal with Anthony rage quitting life.
There's always technical difficulties, like every single time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it happens.
Normally they're mine. Huzzah!
On the plus side, I came up with a good idea for cracking the PMC.
Ooh.
That's what you spend your time doing. Anyway, we should probably get his information, and then we can deal with PMC.
So is this any better?
Yes.
Yeah,
way better.
Absolutely.
Okay, awesome.
Let me just grab myself another beer, but yeah, carry on going.
I'm just gonna get DJ back into the hangout, if you don't mind.
Oh, hey, DJ.
Hey, guys.
Because, secretly the DJ is Professor Chaos!
Professor Chaos. I heard you guys liked party.
This is why my supervillain plans never seem to work out.
Whoa, Bertrand, you have plans? Jesus.
BR makes plans. He's a relatively organized adult.
Does BR adult harder than any of us?
I mean, I don't know Justin well enough to have the two have an old-fashioned adult
Yes.
things.
Yes, he does. I know Justin, yes.
Okay.
I'm here.
Because I'm pretty much just a force of chaos.
I enjoy chaos.
Hey, Justin.
Mm-hmm.
Tap.
There's a reason for the tap. One day people will know.
One day.
When it'll be too late.
Well, the man says, my information leads to both Cambodia and Hengsha. Cambodia seems easy enough to travel to these days in secret, but I think it would be better for all concerned if the Chinese or the People's Republic military and police had no idea of your comings and goings. I can arrange this, he says, adjusting his tie.
And what would the price be?
No price, he said. I would like to know as much as you what is going on.
So that's actually quite a significant price. Is the price of being included in the information chain. I'm pretty sure some of the things that we might dig up are going to be quite valuable to the right people.
Bertrand, who was his superior? Who was his version of me?
His version of you is Hung Lo Hua, who is an even older gentleman, perhaps in his late 70s, who rarely meets. He's met with Daisuke a couple of times, but never in person.
Indeed. Okay, cool. However, I think that this is a fair price considering the amount of logistics that would need to be perfected in order to get us into Hengsha without being detected.
I nod at him and say, I very much appreciate your help. If you would allow me to glance over them before we depart, I am an old hand at smuggling.
Well, if you can get yourself into the mainland China without being detected, you would be a very good smuggler indeed. Pardon me for asking, but how would it be done?
I was about to say,
Roll a smuggling check, maybe.
yeah, I think that's the way, because I can kind of bullshit, but I'll roll the dice to see how good I am.
Pretty good.
7 of 11, so I succeed by a margin of 4.
You would guess that probably the best way to penetrate is by sea rather than by air, since everything is weighted in the air, which makes human trafficking very difficult. However, even by sea, it's one of the most patrolled coasts in the world, and you're missing the other piece. You're missing the Chinese local knowledge.
Yep.
So,
could attempt it.
hang on. So what you're saying to me, Bertrand, is we need to buy a submarine. I'm not joking.
I'm tempted to answer that question and make you roll.
I can drive it.
You can drive a submarine.
Yep.
Oh my god, Bertram, we're buying a submarine.
Would you like to roll to see if a submarine would work?
So you get one of those personalized, like 5-person underwater exploration vessels that they use for doing trenches and shit.
Asmi, roll to see if a submarine would work.
Yes.
You're not entirely sure. Of course, sonar technology has advanced considerably.
Yes.
It would stand to reason that it's concentrated near the Chinese coast, but then again, there's a lot of coming and going, so it's hard to be sure.
You'd have to have an intimate knowledge of the local terrain to get around the sonar, which I do not possess.
I was going to say, one way or another, we're buying the submarine. I'm just letting that be.
So, yep, I will say I would be honored if you would make the arrangements for me. It is considerably less work for us.
I'm glad you mentioned the price, as he said. Of course, given what happened to you at sea, we would still offer this assistance to you no matter what, he says, clearing his throat. But I would like, if possible, to be in info-link contact with you.
I do also have something to also offer up and show, because this is going to require a little bit of help from both yours and Sasori's.
Whoa, hang on, guys, because this is something that affects us all. Bertrand, I'm sorry to cut across the game. The Gentleman Gamer is packing it in. Did we all know this?
I had no idea.
Matt Dawkins is leaving he's turning off his YouTube channel and shit.
God damn.
He posted a goodbye message on Facebook and everything.
I hope the guy's alright.
I hope he dies kicking and screaming in a fire.
I always got on well with Matt. I've had a few chats with him.
Fire, Justin.
Yeah, my main point of contact with him was cut off after he fell out with a friend of mine, so I really had no idea this was coming. Oh well. Seat change.
Yeah, so sorry, I didn't mean to cut across you, just that was a thing, and I was like...
Doing this for a while, so I can understand, and he's exhausted a lot of his kind of general material, but he's also, he's gotten big into, he does professional writing and stuff. Well, maybe he's just kind of going on to the next step. Well, we'll talk about it later, we've got this game to do.
Continue, sorry, I do beg your pardon.
Of course that means, he says, that I won't need to be able to hear what you hear or see what you see, but I would like to be able to contact you for updates. This is a matter that concerns our syndicate a great deal.
Indeed.
Now, I had something to kind of request from both yours and his. We have this...
Honourable Mr. Truliat, I would remind you that we are not a line of sweaters or perfume.
Yes, so either way, I've got a couple things that I might need to help deal with some of this site security. Might not be Red Arrow related, but with the PMC and all of that, but it might link into it either way.
Could you be more specific?
The group that we're trying to crack information of has a large variety of employees and some of the most sophisticated information security available on the planet. All information security exists on a specific pattern, a systematic level of logins to passwords to encryptions. They all exist on a specific pattern. If one can find out what that pattern is currently existing at, one has a vulnerability in said security network. Now, for the really good companies, will change their pattern on a yearly basis. Really good companies will change it on a monthly basis, and the best will change it on a weekly to daily basis. This company has a large amount of employees, from public forward-facing employees to likely more undercover to orthodox employees. Each one of them requires somewhat of inclusion within their scope of information. If we could scan or use or get access to what they use to log in be it a badge or a encryption pad or a what's the word for it? A security key. I can use that to create the vulnerability. Then most security forms are protected against this. This is an old 2000s security flaw. Most places protect this as a form of external attack, but there are very few places that can do anything about this because of how security works to prevent this as a form of an internal attack if one person was even to gain access for just a little while. The nickname for this attack is Heartbleed. It's a way of forcing the actual information security servers as a form of their own verification to give up vastly more information that they intended to. The very way that a server says your password is correct can also be used as a very way to get that server to empty out its entire treasure trove of information. As long as one person knows the pattern for how the verification is currently working, one person can perform a heartbleed attack.
Well, the man says, taking in the information and listening politely, it's outside of my area of expertise, but if you give me the address, I can pass the information along to our runners.
Yeah, any of these individuals will do.
As he reads the address, a look of recognition crosses his face, and he mutters to himself, "You may be judged by the strength of your enemies," and forwards the information along.
This might also help with your dealings with your enemies.
He says, "Of course I know, La Academy, mostly responsible for picking us up in the area. We've gotten good at running around their blockades, but as for their networks, I'm not sure."
Well, as part of this agreement, you'll probably stand to benefit quite a bit, depending on what information we can pull. Might not be the information that we want,
find.
But we'll be in touch.
I will tell you the particulars of my idea, and perhaps, he says, nodding at Asme, it will not be necessary for you. We have, as I'm sure you know, he says, nodding at Sasori, some dealings with the People's Republic of China. The Chinese people, he says, leaning back, have a great hunger for raw materials. The population has been decreasing in Japan for almost 40 years. So there are a number of uninhabited tenements, abandoned buildings, places where the scum of the earth might ordinarily make a home. Some of our people have become quite good at tearing it down and reducing it to raw materials, which we then ship to the mainland. All of this is automated, he says.
We are very, shall we say, anti-waste, Asmi-san.
We have the necessary paperwork. We have routine shipments sent there on a weekly basis. It only becomes a matter of smuggling you on board one of these facilities. Of course, your escape from the docking bay and return to it in a week's time, that would be up to you.
Wouldn't have it any other way.
Well, in all, if this is amenable to you, I will send you the particulars.
Hi, I think that this should be more than agreeable.
Nods. He says to the others, "Don't be late. The entire system is digitized and is not programmed to wait for latecomers."
We'll need a few items while we're in transit to be able to work on the other side. You know, a few bits for the currency, fake credit cards, IDs that could potentially pass rough inspection. You know, the basics.
That can be done. Though for that, I will have to talk to my people.
Well, yes, once we're actually mainland,
Indeed.
we need
I
to
will
be able to work.
I will be able to supply my own documentation. Sasori raises his hand. Basically, Bertrand, I'm going to spend some dots on alternate identity because I have the stuff banked.
Well, that would cover you, but what about your companions?
Oh yeah, that's why I'm saying Sasori will say he will deal with his own.
You're saying just for you.
Yes.
But yeah, I'm quite happy for this person to sort it out, but I can also, depending on how they sort it out, customize it also a bit myself. And then we also need basically non-traceable currency.
The currency is non-traceable anyway, because there's a universal currency. What Sasori will probably do is he'll probably liquidize a lot of some of his assets. So essentially, he'll bring cash in a briefcase in small unmarked denominations, because cash is always easiest.
Cash will work. I was going to say electronic transfers can of course be traced, but cash will work.
Yep.
Well, that's why I was also thinking of, because some places expect you to have electronic transfer, consider it dodgy if you don't have basically a fake account to be able to use for that, so you don't attract suspicion.
The first thing I'm certain we can do, the man says, is make sure you don't show up on their systems. The credit cards, IDs and stuff. We have the ability to do this, he says, but checking his watch. The shipment leaves in a